Thank you to our sponsor, EJ Cards, a small but motivated company specializing in cards. EJ Cards believe passionately in great bargains and excellent service, which is why they commit themselves to give you the best of both. If you're looking for something new, you're in the right place. EJ Cards strive to be industrious and innovative, offering customers something they want, putting their desires at the top of the priority list. Find EJ Cards at www.ejcards.com.au or shop 394 to 398 Middleborough Road, Blackburn, Victoria, and also find them on Facebook. Thank you very much, EJ Cards, for sponsoring us.
Welcome, everybody, to episode 72 of the You Can't Comp This NBA Trading Card Podcast. We're your hosts, Adam, Amy, and Russell Gibson. It's been a big Sunday, Russell, hasn't it?
It's been a fun Sunday.
It has been
very good day.
It's been a great Sunday. We went to the Melbourne Card Fair? Is that the official title?
Sounds good.
It sounds good. I hope it's what it was actually called. It was over in Doncaster. The venue did change from Oakley, so I hope
it did change. Yeah.
I hope nobody turned up at Oakley.
Yeah.
But we had a pretty good day. We got the early bird tickets and got along nice and early.
Which is well worth the $20, to be honest.
Honestly, it's nice to be able to go through and leisurely go through some folders and cabinets before everybody else sort of turns up. So.
You did feel the increased presence as soon as the door opens. Well, that's what I felt anyway.
Literally, 11 o'clock, bang, there were people there, and it was like not lines and lines of people but you could feel people around you wanting to look at what you were looking at.
Yeah, definitely.
If that makes sense, yeah. So
you're right. It was called the Melbourne Card Fair, right?
How good was that? My memory. I'm not
going senile yet.
I'm not. I'm sure I'm not far off. Anyway,
all right. Let's recap the card fair today. What was your experiences, Ed?
I went and looked at football cards. There were a lot of football cards there.
Yeah.
Sort of a trip down memory lane. There was a lot of variety. Pokemon, football, a lot of AFL.
Yeah, definitely a lot of AFL.
Little bit of basketball.
I'd say that's the difference between the hobby hangout and the card fair. It's like it's a bit more sort of AFL and maybe a bit more of an even spread. I think that's probably fair to say too. Whereas I'd probably say the hobby hangout is more maybe 90%, 85% NBA.
Spot on. It was good. I did actually inquire about an AFL card, but it was a little bit rich for me, especially because I don't really sort of collect AFL. AFL has come a long way as far as like the old, here's a base set and a few inserts. There's some nice on-card autos. It's an interesting hobby.
Okay, so that part's really interesting because it's also how do you know whether it's a good deal or not? It's so funny for me. Like NBA, I feel quite comfortable either already like having that baseline knowledge or, finding the knowledge. Whereas I feel like Pokemon, they just look like shiny cards. And I look at the price sticker, I'm like, okay, I don't know if that's a good price or a bad. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like,
fully.
That is actually quite an interesting little...
It was funny because in the back of my mind, because of the set, and I was looking at some comparable players, so I was comping internally, and I saw some players and I'm like, you know what? Based on the status of that player overall in the league, I comped it at about 200 to 250 and I got quoted 450. So I'm like, you know what? I'm good. I should have counted with 250 maybe.
I
felt like it would have been lowballing if I'd said, well, I was going to offer you 250 for it, but...
Yeah, so, and this is no criticism of any of the sellers there. I think it's a tough gig, working those tables. And also I'd say in a way too, it's a little bit brave, kind of like ponying up and getting one. So to all the sellers there, like you did a fantastic job. But I would probably also say too, at the same time, some of the prices were quite hopeful. I feel like those prices weren't like on sale price. They were like, this is the best price that I possibly could want.
Yeah.
And
best price for the seller, not best price for the buyer, is what you're saying. Yeah,
and also too, maybe like there was the assumption that some type of negotiation was going to go on, and I'd probably also say too that there was a fair bit of free negotiating happening, and that I didn't see any sort of what's the word, like sort of unjust or
no,
argy-bargy going on. It was just, like, very friendly sort of back and forth, so,
It
yeah,
was.
yeah.
It was good. It was interesting. But I did end up acquiring a little bit of stuff. We'll
What'd you
call
get,
it
mate?
pocket change.
Tell us, what'd you get?
So I'll start off with giving a shout out to young Logan,
Yeah, sure. Yep.
who I traded a couple of
Is this the young fella that had that insane case? And
the
he
that's right. And
Yeah, right. I was in awe of this kid, actually. I was actually a bit jealous. I'm walking around with like, a
he
shonky
was
cardboard box, and
he was
he's like,
about to get he wanted to put the jar uh, college auto on the table
"Oh, man,
for our trade
that was a
because
nice one."
he saw a couple of the Kobe's. I didn't want him parting with that jar, and so I didn't really want to. It was sort of like a cornerstone to his collection.
So are you saying he offered you the jar for one of your
He
Kobe's?
for one of my Kobe's, yeah, and it
Right,
was,
okay.
and I'm like, it's a numbered Kobe, but there's nothing special about it. It's a coloured variation. It's the purple, so they do sort of fetch a higher price because of the colour match. But I did end up trading some KDs.
Just hang on a second, though, but that jar that he had was a college jar, right?
That's correct. It was a
So,
college. Yeah,
actually giving the kid kudos, that's actually, like, a smart play. Like, if you're trading college for NBA and a dude
yeah,
that's no longer
agreed.
signing anymore, actually, like, he's got a bit more moxie than I'm probably, giving him credit for. Look, maybe his age is
Yeah,
deceiving and he's, like, gonna be the next Gary V, you know?
he was persistent. I think we were standing at the table there for a good hour. I am not kidding you. It was an hour, and Logan was not it was not letting me leave that table
Good for
until
him.
he'd given
Good
it
for him.
absolutely everything.
Yeah, good
Um,
on him, man.
I did stick to my guns in the end, but he did get away with a pretty good deal. The KDs, I think I definitely lost in the deal overall, but it's more about what you're prepared to give up for a card.
Yeah, sure.
For those that are playing at home and watching on the YouTube, I got a Ja Morant red, white, and blue.
Yeah.
That was the main part of the trade. It's a little bit off center, so it's probably not going to grade terribly great. Also, a couple of throw-ins. I got a Derek White, who's on fire at the moment. Davion Mitchell, green, and I'm like a big Joker fan, so as in the comic book Joker, so purple and green was a nice little color scheme for me. What else did he get? Oh, and then I traded him one of my smaller Kobe's straight up for a couple of Spellbounds, because that's kind of my insert set.
Yeah,
But
right.
I'm a real sucker for the Spellbound
There's
set.
just
So that
some
was
cards
that was
that
fun.
don't make sense. You just like them for no good reason, and if that's your card ad, I've got no problem with that, to be honest.
Speaking of cards I like for no good reason, well, I guess I've got a good reason. I did pick up for the sake of pocket change an Anthony Bennett Silver Prism.
What? Hang on a
Um,
second. What's the grading company on that? Because I feel like that's the perfect grading company for an Anthony Bennett rookie.
OCE Grading Services. My question now is: are they based in Turkey, where he's a local hero? Um, because yes, no, that was actually quite funny. I was joking around about it, and then what else did I pick up at the same time? I got a Pau Gasol Select Silver just because I wanted a Pau.
Is that an autograph that came
Nah,
up?
just a nah. Sorry, that was just a
Oh yeah, radio. Yeah, it just
just a.
flashed up and down pretty quick. That was all. Cheers, mate. Yeah.
That's all right. And then yeah, I ended up. Young Logan gave me a Steve Kerr second year hoops for as a thank you for doing a very very exhausting trade after that. Is the reason I sell cards and don't generally trade,
Yeah.
and that is one of them.
Bartering is exhausting, isn't it?
It can be, especially
Yeah.
look, and it gets difficult. But yeah, what else? What else did I do? So I did the one trade that took me most of my time there. I did buy a couple of Kobe rookies. I think I may have paid overs, but a couple of I'm going to flash them up very quickly
Yeah.
for those that are playing at home. So we've got the Z Force. Is it Skybox? Yeah. Upper Deck exclusives. A couple of second year cards. What do we? Stadium Club rookie that I picked up, and then what was it? The Mod Squad. That was the other one which I got for 25.
Oh yeah, nice one. I actually that last one that you just put up, that was the one I liked the most actually.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
that's
I
quite.
sort of caught my eyes. I got that from
Yep,
footycards.com.au, which
great.
was nice to sort of do that. And then my last little bit of pocket change. I swear this is it. This is it. I'm just. It's a tidal wave of pocket change from me
It's just
this
a
week,
pocket wave.
isn't it?
It's
It's the
pocket change
pocket. Yeah,
segment. Yeah,
it is. I've just hijacked pocket change. Picked up $5 a green Giannis
beautiful.
with his championship, and then for $20 I got 3 Austin Reeves prisms. I
Yeah,
got
right.
What have we got? So we've got Mosaic rookie prism, prism silver, and a Revolution groove.
So, did you buy those as as an investment or because you're a Lakers fan?
Both.
Yeah,
Well, actually, I bought them because Austin Reeves is on fire and he's been on my mind this week. I'm like, I really don't have any of his rookie stuff, and I need to
yeah.
get a bit.
He's been in
So
the news quite a bit, to be honest, hasn't he?
he's all about the cashola,
Yeah,
apparently, in the media. Yeah, so
good for him.
that was my
Get
pocket
paid.
change, and then I've got one little piece that's come out of my trades, which I'll be hanging on to until I can upgrade it.
Cool.
But we'll save that for later.
Yeah, great.
So yes, that's me done. Thanks for coming. Enjoy the rest of the show. I'm off.
That's it. Let's just end the feed now, Ad. I reckon while we're ahead, I say.
I think we've just lost all the followers. Just nobody's watching live. Going, this is just Adam showing off all the stuff that he got. But it was a good day. We caught up with friend of the show Matt Yuga.
Yeah, good to see him looking very well as always.
And we had one of the boys from Double Coverage arrive just after you left, and I ended up calling it Single Coverage. That was a
Genius.
terrible joke. No
Genius,
wonder.
Adam.
Yeah, I'm sure they'll have me on as their third man now. It was a good day. It was a good day. Had a few good chats. Yeah, it was nice. Nice, quiet. It felt like a local card show.
Yeah.
It was nice.
Yeah,
How about you?
I agree with you. Look, I thought it was well organized. I think that the venue was actually excellent. Maybe a little bit dim for flicking through trading cards, but I thought that the tiered layout of the event was good. I would probably just say I do know some people turn up to Oakley, and that was probably my concern when they changed the venue, sort of quite late in the piece. So, but apart from that, look, great event, lads, and looking forward to the next one. I didn't actually do a lot of buying. I did a trade, so I did a 5-for-1 trade. But
Nice.
before I go on, I'll just preface this: all the cards that I traded were mosaic, so I'm not going to say mosaic for each one, but they're all 2017 mosaics. LeBron James blue PSA 10, Donovan Mitchell silver PSA 10, De'Aaron Fox silver PSA 9. So they're both rookie cards, those last two. Then a Fox blue rookie card PSA 10, and then a Fox mosaic PSA 9 again. And I traded for a Tim Duncan Metal Universe. I'm not too sure if that's coming up on the screen there.
Yeah, I've got it there.
I definitely wanted to trade up, so I sort of got my wish there.
That's a PSA 10, right?
It is, yeah. And I traded with Dion. So if Dion is listening, I hope you are listening, Dion. Thank you so much for the trade, mate. I had an absolute ball trading with you. Check out Dion. You will find him on Instagram.
Instagram, yeah.
Yeah.
And thanks for the Anthony Bennett. I also got that's who I got the
Juicy
Anthony
Honey,
Bennett.
one word, _ swish. Juicy Honey, which is all one word, _ swish. Check him out. Look, I would put him down as an excellent dealer. I had a really good time. He was very engaging. And also, to be honest, he paid comps, which is actually quite refreshing. So look, the LeBron that I gave away, I'm a little bit kind of like, did I make the right decision? Did I not do it? I'm probably going to do some social media on this trade this week. So fry me, guys, if I've been burned here, let me know about it. But at the same time,
even if he hasn't been burnt, guys, get around it.
Yeah,
this is your opportunity.
There was a couple of 9s in there, and the mosaics aren't the sort of most desirable set. I would probably also say too, in terms of Duncan rookie cards, the Metal Universe isn't like the top shelf. But I will say this, and this is living in the past, and it's living very vicariously saying this, but at the same time, this sold for $2,400
Wow.
in the in March of 21. So, you know, the pricing has come down, a very, very long way. But I would
Yeah.
also say too, I kind of feel happy to get this card because I did go through a patch of buying Duncans, and frankly, these cards were completely out of my reach. And
Yeah.
then those cards that I traded away, actually, I pack pulled myself and sent off to PSA. So I kind of like that idea of doing
Mm.
that type of trade, that sort of 5-for-1
Yeah.
trade. So
Yep.
this is actually gonna go into my special box. So that's another way of me sort of counting a win for myself, I suppose, because,
Yeah.
those other cards weren't in my special box. That was quite nice. Really quickly, a Herb Jones green Prism rookie card. I got a straight fire James Harden, a Patrick Williams mosaic rookie card, a Josh Green rated rookie clearly, and this is probably my favorite one. I got this for $2. It's a Taylor Horton Tucker mosaic choice, the red and green one. So I
Oh,
think
nice.
in terms of paying with pocket change, I feel quite happy
Yeah.
about that. And then my
Yeah.
walking down memory lane card was a Michael Jordan Supreme Court PSA 8, but this was these were the cards that really strike my heart as a child. And I look
Wow.
back on these
Yeah.
cards very fondly. So when I saw that for $20, I was kind of like, I didn't even comp it. I was just like, just chuck it in the pile, mate. Honestly, like I'm very happy to
Oh,
grab that. So
yeah. I know the
yeah.
feeling. I know the feeling.
I think we should segue into our sponsor right now because the Hobby Hangout also held an event today in Sydney. So
They did. They did.
I would also say too, this is technically last week was our last week of agreed sponsorship with the guys from the Hobby Hangout, but I definitely want to give them a massive shout out again on this show because they've kept our lights on. So thank you so much, Hobby Hangout. We appreciate you so much. And the early social media stuff that I've seen on the Hobby Hangout today looked fantastic. It looked like a really good
Yeah.
turnout. Seba broke out there today, so that was good to see that. I jumped on his break because I wanted to be part of the Hobby Hangout, even if I'm, a few thousand kilometers away. That was quite nice. And
We should do stuff like that. Like today, we probably should have gone live.
I was on a little bit of a time restriction today. Okay, that's my excuse.
Next time,
But
I'm going to secretly go live and just
I
put
take your
candid
point.
Russell.
I take your point. We probably should be a bit more active in public spaces.
But yes, it was interesting.
The main thing I want to talk about today was Nikola Jokic, and the reason is because last week we touched on him and we said why don't we revisit it? So I've done a
It's
bit of
definitely
research.
it's a preview. This is let's not segue too much, but this is the Nikola Jokic episode.
It pretty much is. So if you're not interested in talking about Joker, probably turn off. But in saying that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through all the 3-time MVPs, all the 2-time MVPs, and talk about some of their rookie cards and also some interesting cards. So I've gone through that list and
Yep.
put that together today. I've
Okay.
also put together some stuff from GemRate. Ryan put
Yeah.
some stuff together for us. We've got a really good question
Sweet.
from Carl Morey. So it's kind of like a Joker package. So hopefully we'll find something for you that you enjoy. All right. The 3-time MVPs are Moses Malone, Larry Bird, and Magic Johnson. Pretty short list. So the fact that we're even discussing Joker, stepping into that territory, is
Mhm.
worth, noting. So the Moses Malone 1975 Topps rookie card last sold for $19,400, and that sold on the 16th of March of this year. The highest that it's ever
Wow.
sold is for $100,000 though. So, you know, that was in the third exactly 12 months ago actually.
Wow.
Yeah. So, there is some money in that. And I also think too that $19,000 mark, sort of keep that $19,000 mark in your mind because it's kind of a good benchmark moving forward, okay? Now,
Okay.
the Larry Bird Magic Johnson rookie card, you could argue the toss on me, and I will accept it if you don't agree with me on this. But the one that I chose is the triple card, so it's got Larry, Magic, and Dr. J on it.
Yep.
Um,
That's
PSA,
that's that's the regarded that is the regarded rookie card, like in most circles.
yeah, I mean,
Yep.
yeah, I think it is, but at the same time, you could go a different way if you wanted to. So I'm just acknowledging that, yeah.
Fair. Fair. Fair.
So the highest sold price for that was $800,000. It last sold for 522, so that's had a big drop recently. Now, the Card Ladder Premium account that we have now been given very generously from Card Ladder, it actually values the card at $200,000. Now, really
Mm.
interestingly, the Card Ladder values are often the last sold price, and it doesn't really fluctuate that much. So the reason I'm mentioning that is because it's a very large variation. Yeah.
Mm.
So that's probably something to keep in mind, that Card Ladder actually predicts that, it's going to drop a little bit more.
Yep.
And then coincidentally, the Magic Johnson is the three-time MVP, and he's on the same card. So I won't do Magic again.
Yep.
All right. The two-time MVPs, Bob Pettit, Karl Malone, Tim Duncan, Steve Nash, Steph Curry, Giannis, and of course, our man Joker. So Bob Pettit, 1957, PSA 9 Topps card, last sold for $5,000. So that's 25% of the value of the Moses Malone.
Mm-hmm.
I really like this card. Without creating spoilers for the rest of what I'm about to list down, I'm probably the most interested in this card. It's got a pop of 47. There's nothing higher than the PSA 8. And also just the fact too, it's a nearly 60, 65-year-old card. There's something that
Yeah.
kind of is quite romantic for me about that.
It's there's some it's some very rare cardboard. That's for sure.
Yeah, that's it, and just the fact that
It's
it's,
just it's a
lasted
piece
that
of
long.
I think I've referred. I haven't often referred to basketball cards like this, but it's literally a piece of history.
Yeah. Once it gets more than
It's
50 years, I
yeah,
agree with you. It's more history, yeah.
yeah.
Karl Malone, 1986 Fleer PSA 10, last sold for $3,500. The highest it sold for is 15.6, pop of 221. So you're starting to see the pop differences come into play.
Sure.
The other thing that's, I think, pretty interesting to mention here is his PMGs. His PMGs, which are not his rookie cards, are selling for significantly more than that. And that's a
Okay.
theme that we're going to see moving into our next card, which is the Tim Duncan, the
Mm.
1997 Metal Universe PMG. I use this card as an example because I think it's an interesting card. It's the red is numbered to 90. The
Yep.
BGS 8.5 sold for 51,000 USD. So,
They're an
we've
extremely rare card, the
yeah,
Metal Universe,
yeah,
the PMGs.
yeah.
Yeah.
Probably the more relevant card, or the card that, we would see on a day-by-day basis, is the Topps Chrome Refractor, or the current equivalent would be the Silver Prism.
Yep.
PSA 10 last sold for $6,300 with a high of
Yep.
$36,000. Now, keeping in mind that Moses Malone we spoke about with the $20,000, so you could get 3 of the Duncan Topps Chrome, or you could get 1 of the 1975 Moses Malone at the moment. So
Wow.
I bought a Tim Duncan rookie card today, so you can tell sort of where my biases lie here.
Mm.
Uh, of all these people in the list here, I probably think Duncan has got the best pedigree, and I probably think he's got the best resume. And I think there's a lot of reasons why he's not that popular within card circles. And, the Faruja factor is probably the easiest way to explain it. He's the anti-Faruja factor, but I
There's a
still
lot
think,
of the Spurs system seems to be anti-Faruja factor.
yeah, absolutely. But I still think that of all these cards that I've just said, that 6,300, probably
Yeah.
seems actually the most intriguing for me. Yeah.
Mm.
The next one is Steve Nash Topps Chrome Refractor PSA 10 pop only 6. His
Okay.
sale prices are incredibly up and down, literally like a yo-yo. Last sold for
Mm-hmm.
5.7. However,
Yep.
the sale before that was 19.2. So you can almost, jump on and off that roller coaster and sort of, see where it lays. Steph Curry, we're getting towards the juicy end now. 2009 Topps Chrome. Now, I probably need to ask you about this because I feel like you might know this better than me. The base is numbered to 999. Now, like, that really speaks to my soul so much because I sort of shudder when I think about how many base cards are probably printed now. Like, is it 999,000? You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's
Just the
terrifying, isn't it?
Yeah, just the base PSA 10 sold for 26.4 thousand.
Yep.
Do you I wanna play a game with you. What do you think the high of that card sold for?
The high.
The most that card has ever sold for? Just have a guess.
All right, hang on, hang on, hang
Don't
on.
cheat, off the top of your head, come on.
So what? No, current last sold price is 5,600. Is
The
that the last sold?
last the last sold was 26,000.
Last sold was 26,000. All right.
26,000, yeah.
50K.
Yeah, 85K.
Really?
Yeah, right? It's wild, isn't it?
That is insane.
And, I think this is really interesting because I've been saying this the last few weeks. I think the hobby is fun at the moment. And obviously I'm not floating in these areas, but the fun element for me was getting that Tim Duncan medal card. I could never have afforded that a few years back.
Yeah.
Right? That literally fell into my lap today. And probably to a lesser degree, I feel like even that Steph Curry, like it going down nearly 4 times the amount of
Mhm.
price. Look, that's horrible for the people that paid 85. So I shouldn't be jumping up and down and saying how good this is, but that's the flip side, isn't it? Yeah.
Do you know what the card ladder value on that card is?
Of the 999,
Mm.
talk to me.
17,200.
So they still think it's overvalued.
They think it's overvalued,
Yeah,
yeah.
right. I mean, with a pop of 61, you could argue that the pop count could go up a lot more.
Yeah.
I do understand that, but at the same
There's
time,
still a cap there though. I think
yeah,
it's amazing that you're never gonna get the Zion. You know where you like how there's 20,000 base Zions?
yeah, that are tens already.
Yeah.
It's quite sobering that, isn't it? The fact that a base card is capped to 999,
No, no,
and
no,
yeah,
but isn't
and
it?
then there is 20,000 already graded of the Zion. Like it is actually that's a very good thought exercise to sort of like bring you back to earth, isn't it? Just
Mm.
just how wild
But
everything's got in the last couple of years.
then there's the normal tops, which which is unnumbered.
Oh, so
That's
there's an
a more
unnumbered base, is there?
yeah. So there's tops chrome, and then there's tops.
Oh, right. Okay, sure. Yep. Yep.
So the tops one's not numbered. The
There's
base,
Donruss and there's Donruss Optic.
yeah,
Yeah, sure.
correct,
Yeah,
correct.
right.
So
Okay, okay.
that said, a base PSA 10 has a pop count of 368,
Okay. So again,
and
it's still not
last
crazy town yet, is it?
$7,250 was the last sold
Yeah, right.
for
I
a
did
PSA
the
10.
Topps Chrome because I thought that was just the more relevant
Agreed. I
today
agree. I
comp.
agree.
Yeah, yeah.
But it's nice to know
Yeah, yeah.
there are affordable curries out there.
Different
But you're
price
right. Yeah.
points. Yeah.
Yep. Anyway,
So the next
this
one's
is the
Giannis.
Jokic. This is the Jokic episode, not the curry episode.
Yeah, but no, but I just thought it was good just to sort of like create sort of a platform to sort of sit him in there. But, that's what I was
I,
thinking.
I
Yeah,
like it.
yeah.
Yep.
So Giannis, PSA 10 silver, last sold for 15K. Highest it's
Yep.
sold for is 42, and pop is
Yep.
78. So we're starting to see the pops, go up a little bit here.
Mm.
I did highlight this card though, the 1 of 1 black mosaic. So this is when mosaic was in Prism, not when it was a standalone set.
Oh,
BGS
okay.
9.5. It's sold for 1.14 million. Card ladder values it at 1.5 though. Again,
Wow.
an interesting little, tweak. Yeah.
It's just when you talk about those values,
Mm.
it's phenomenal, isn't it?
Yeah. So now let's do a little bit of talk about Jokic. Yes, he's
Yes.
won it twice. There is some talk about him going from that 2 to 3. So, and actually, it does matter if you've won 3 MVPs on your card prices. That's something I learned from this exercise.
It will matter.
Yeah.
Should we put the question that we were prompted from our group expert? Because I think this is relevant.
Do you want me to do the prices, or do you want to do Carl's question?
We'll do the question because I think the
Yeah,
prices
sure.
will be sort of
Yep, sure.
It'll be sort of a pre-reveal.
Yeah, sure. No worries.
And I think I've said this a few times as well. Carl Morley has said, how much does winning a championship affect Jokic's value?
Yeah.
He's never going to be the most popular, but statistically he's dominant.
Yeah.
Jokic is one of those unicorn players. Like, you don't understand how he does what he does, but he does it and he does it with ease. He's like that. He's just a different breed of human. Like you'd nickname him as a freak like Giannis, but he's so unassuming. Does that, like, I'm sure it hurts his hobby value because he's not the most flamboyant. Is that the word?
Yeah.
He's not big and smiley like Giannis can be and Luka has been, but he's such a dominant player that he goes out and gets the work done.
So, okay, I think using the information that we've just presented,
Mm-hmm.
and if I try and slot him in next to somebody,
Mm-hmm.
I think I feel pretty comfortable putting him next to Tim Duncan in terms of value. So
Yep.
his current value is 6.3. So that means to
Mm-hmm.
me that Jokic could still go up that much to get to that level. Do
Yep.
I think that he'll ever sell for the high of 36,000 like Tim Duncan did? I don't feel comfortable making that prediction. The other thing you could do too is slot him next to Petit. I think that's quite nice, up to 5.1. So that's still got a bit of room to grow.
Mm.
If he jumps up to the next level, he wins a championship and he gets another MVP. I feel very confident putting him next to Moses Malone. So that takes him to 19.4K. I really like that. I actually feel that. Thank you, Adam, for putting that question in there because I feel like that actually fits in quite nicely,
It does.
doesn't it? Yeah,
It sets the stage
yeah,
because as much as I've joked about it, saying it's the championship definitely adds value, I feel
yeah.
like it adds a
So
lot of value.
that puts him higher than Karl Malone. It puts him higher than Steve Nash, but less than Giannis, less than Steph Curry. I feel very confident and comfortable with that. Less than Magic and Larry Bird. That's very reasonable. Yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
Yep.
So he last sold for 3.4 thousand, pop of 137, high of 6,000. So you could still say, well, there's still some
Mm-hmm.
room to move there. However, in the last 3 months, actually, he's up 41%. So you could
He's
also
definitely,
argue you've missed the train a little bit. And look, maybe we should have been having this conversation at the start of the year, but
yeah, maybe,
I,
but
I probably do like to see things play out a little bit more. Do
yeah,
I think he's still got a bit more room to grow? I think the answer is yes. I feel very confident to say that. Yeah,
I'm down with that. I think he's got room to grow, and
yeah,
I've said it a lot. I think this is Denver's year. I think they've got a great chance of winning the championship,
yeah. Right. Okay.
and this that could shoot him into the stratosphere, especially third MVP and a championship.
Yeah,
Like, there's no question marks over the guy anymore if he wins a chip. Like, he doesn't go into that ominous was great but never got all the way. And Karl
yeah.
Malone
Sure.
lives with that stigma, and that's the thing. Like, it's important. A championship on your resume. And this is why you see people like Jordan and that have 6 championships on their resume.
Yeah,
But I mean, the individual accolades are one thing, and it puts him into a category. But I think the icing on the cake is definitely the chip
yeah,
that launches him. That said, I think he's undervalued as far as long term. I think this guy's a first ballot Hall of Famer in his
I agree with that, and I actually think this exercise we pretty clearly laid out a historical pattern
yeah
of where this is sort of going to. Going back to
yep
1957,
yep
and I would actually say that you can see that there still is room to move.
yep. This is where we
Um,
put in one of those investment disclaimers. Past performance is not a true indicator of future success.
yeah, sure,
It's
but
a good indicator. It is a
but
good
I think if
indicator
you're doing due diligence, like I would say that this conversation should be part of it.
for sure.
Can I be honest with you? The one that actually intrigues me the most for the flip is Steve Nash. Like, don't do it now, but
Mm.
off the air, look at the sales on Steve Nash, how it goes up and down. I feel like you could literally just hop on and off the train. Um, yeah, it would be okay. So
What are
the
you?
next thing,
I'm a Nash trader.
yeah.
Yeah.
So Ad, what's the card? I asked if you could get me a card to talk about. Tell me something that makes you froth when it comes to the Joker.
I wouldn't say froth. It's not Kobe, but it's I said I have a card, and it's very relevant. That I've taken out of my trades box until I can upgrade it. So for those playing at home on the YouTube, the Facebooks, or the Twitch, we have a select is a premier level, whatever it is, base rookie,
Cool.
which I had a few. I think this is my last one, so I'm going to hang on to that. I would like to upgrade that, and
What have you got your eye on, my friend?
I have my eye on the light blue to 199,
Okay.
and there is a reason for it.
Talk to me.
What color is the uniform Nikola Jokic is wearing in that shot?
It's a sky blue.
That's correct. So if I get the light blue prism, it's a beautiful color match. A
Sure.
beautiful color
Great.
match
Yeah.
to that card.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah, that's mine. Current last sold price $1,580 US. Card ladder value is at 1,690. So
Really?
it's a little bit undervalued.
1,600,
US.
1,600
Yeah, for
for a
PSA 10.
blue select for a PSA
Yeah.
10, right.
Yeah.
So, can I be
If
on
I would literally straight up trade this for an equal valued Kobe auto.
can I be honest with you? I wouldn't do that
I would.
because, um, remember we did that exercise of, like, going back in time and we looked at, like, the cards that were worth money in time?
Yeah.
I'm I'm very concerned, despite my, like, love for Select, I'm very
Mm.
concerned about the long-term value of Select.
Really?
Seriously.
So this is numbered. So I'll go with my case as to why I would give an unnumbered auto of Kobe. Yes, I know Kobe's never signing, obviously.
Again,
Again.
ever. Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Last sold is at that $1,600 mark. This card is numbered to 199 and the pop count on this is 17. That's for sub $2,000.
Yeah. I
I know if it was a base select silver, I'm in agreement with you 100%.
yeah.
Because
So,
the silver premier level silver
if you said to me, "Oh,
last sold for 1380.
I was gonna trade 5 for 1, like what I did today to get that," I'll be like, "Actually,
Yeah.
that's totally fine." But if you say to me, "I'm trading Kobe Bryant signature for that," if I'm giving you
Mm.
honest advice, like, I can't say that's a good idea.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? But if you said to me, "Oh, it was a numbered, prism," I would be kinda like, "Well, that's
Okay. Yeah, that's fair.
better,"
Yeah.
but we're still talking about a Kobe Bryant autograph. Like, frankly,
All right. Maybe I'm a little bit
Kobe
frothy.
a Kobe autograph is like a cornerstone of your PC.
I'm talking about an unnumbered, him random year, random time. Do
I
you know what I mean?
No, I
Like,
do, but I think it might be because you've got so much Kobe at your hands, and I've never had a Kobe auto. That could also be part of it. But
that's true.
in my mind, like a Kobe is like,
It's a grail. It's a grail card.
it's
Yeah.
like the piece of artwork that you put at your front door for people to look at and go, "Oh, look at that nice piece of artwork as I'm walking into my house." Like that.
Yeah.
But I would never
Yeah.
say that about a select Joker.
Yeah.
Look,
But
you
I'm definitely on the color match for the light blue.
I wouldn't
Just
argue.
telling you. Yeah.
No,
Just
that's fine.
any Jokic, if I can get it in the light blue.
I went in a completely different direction to you, and I went in the I'm never going to be able to ever own this card, but it's like the card that I think is really cool.
Yeah.
2021 Panini iMac dual logo man autograph Joker and Jamal Murray. I love this card so much because
Whoa.
when you look at the Nuggets and you think about the Nuggets, those two have just been together for such a long time.
Yep.
And I think if they
Jokic
do,
falling out, Murray sitting on the bench injured watching him. It's been great.
yeah, they've played a lot of ball together. And look, I don't know the games, the numbers and stuff like that, but
I just
you
feel
know,
like when it comes crunch time, Jamal Murray's in street clothes, and
no,
I'm
but no, think about teams that have stayed together the last few years. It's probably like Denver and Golden State, or maybe some of the
yeah.
pieces that have been on the Bucks, together for a while. But
Can
you
I
know,
be as harsh? Can I be as harsh as to say
yeah, you can say whatever you want, man.
if the Nuggets don't win this year, we might have to label Murray and Jokic, Malone and Stockton.
Yeah,
No, I'm joking.
that's not
I think the Nuggets have got one in them.
it's not unreasonable. But yeah, that's probably my froth card, I would say.
That is that anything with a logo on it. That's it. Into the froth.
Right. Sticking with unique autographs, and this is carrying on from my conversation from last week where I was asking you about a
Yeah.
non-sports card autograph. I found this on, again, Sports Cards Nonsense. I feel like I'm propping these guys up every week, but this is an autograph from King George III. It was authenticated by Beckett. And I just don't even know where these guys are getting this stuff from, and then they're getting authenticated. But
Are they saying it's an authentic autograph or it's
yeah,
the actual person?
it's just wild.
What are they
Wild.
authenticating?
I don't know how they do it. I don't know if they age the paper or Anyway, look, who cares? It's just amazing. That's my unique one of
that
the
is
week.
that is phenomenal.
Yeah. All right, the next one I found this for you: a Kobe Gold X Factor 1 of 1 PSA 6 and I think a lot of it is to do with these edges, which I can only describe them as being cut similar to a postage stamp. Those sort of,
Oh my
um
god, that is perforated. That is
yeah, it's almost a
that's
perforation. Yeah.
it's like it's been cut out of it's like a postage stamp. It's weird.
So tell me why
Ugh.
this card is so important for a Kobe collector. Keeping in mind, I'm not a Kobe guy, so tell me why this card is important.
I'm trying to think about why it would be. I mean,
Okay. So
it's a one of one.
this doesn't blow your mind?
It doesn't blow my mind. No.
Okay, okay, well, tell me why it doesn't blow my mind, because I thought this was pretty cool, and I thought you might be
I'm looking
interested
at
in it.
the edges now. I'm looking at the edges now, and it's like why? Unless the card's designed like that.
I assumed it was cut like that on purpose.
Yeah. Then
Yeah.
why does it get? Oh, is that because you just can't? You can't. That's a lot of edges to grade, by the way. They'd have to be perfect.
So I would say that this is like a die cut, but on steroids. So if you get a die cut back that's a 9 or an 8, like, you're doing pretty good. I would say to get this back and be a 6. Look,
Is there a photo of the back, or is it just the front?
no, it's not. It's just a single picture.
The back might be cooked.
Yeah, look, you never know, do you?
Wow.
So is that something that you would be happy to have in your collection? Or would you say,
I'd be happy to have it in the
or
collection,
would
but
you roll it into something different or something bigger?
it's a one of one. I think if I ever got a Kobe one of one, I would be keeping it.
Yeah.
Simple as that. If I had a Kobe one of one, I would not be getting rid of it. I don't think I could make it any simpler than that.
No,
That's
that's fine. That's
yeah,
totally fine, man.
yeah.
Um, so I've had a little bit of feedback that sometimes my cup is too full. So I'm trying to produce a little bit of balance. So look, this has been in my social media all week. So this is about the Retail King. That's his brand name on Whatnot. He's a breaker that basically only uses one camera, and he had a downtown card that he basically used sleight of hand technique to take off the camera and, not put back into the breaks. This went viral across Facebook. It went across Twitter first, is where I saw it. And Eric Whiteback, which is the collectibles guru, we've talked about him a heap. If you don't follow him, guys, please follow him. He's just fantastic. He weighed in on it too, and basically he just said,
Wow. I'm watching the video as we speak.
yeah. So, you know,
That's not sleight of hand. That's blatant stupidity.
look, I agree with that. I've never understood being so short-sighted that you would steal from your customers like this. Like, to me, the logic just isn't there. But what I wanted to sort of follow this up with for you is, what are some of the things that you look for in a breaker that makes them more reliable than others?
Things I look for in a breaker.
So what makes you comfortable to break with X breaker? Or
I
you could
generally
you could name drop some breakers. That's totally fine if
well,
you wish.
there's this guy Russell that I've broken with a couple of times. He's been all right. Needs a bit of a bump
So,
needs a bit of a bump entertainment wise, but he got a good guy in for his
oh,
hoops break. That was entertaining. I was going to go to that well. Who have I broken with? I've broken with Cherry a lot. I think they're very good at what they do.
yeah,
Um, I used to break with Chris Rimpus,
yeah,
Dungeon Master breaks,
yeah.
some high end stuff. That was always fun.
Chris,
Uh,
if you are listening, mate, come on the show.
yeah,
Let's
Russell's
bury
going to get a
let's
petition.
bury the hatchet, mate. Come on.
But it's things like I guess it's not even the on screen stuff that builds the trust. It's the communication outside of the break space.
I agree. Communication is important. Yeah,
And of course, obviously, credibility as far as credibility on camera is one thing because there are cameras on you. I've tried. I've opened cards. I've shown cards. I'm terrible at it. So you're just like, yep, getting things right. But like, it's a tough job, and full transparency. Like sometimes things go wrong. It's not the you've got to sort a bunch of cards. So offline communication is key. Quick turnaround. What else? What else
yeah.
do I sort of look for? Yeah,
So
I do look for obviously an entertaining break, but also look for variety in my breaks. So for a variety of options, um, price point is price point's not always the thing with me. Like I don't know. I do like to be entertained. I do see it as a form of entertainment
Yeah.
because I have a track record of skunking a lot.
Mm. Yeah.
And that's one of the things you do when you go in a break. Yeah, you want to hit the big team and hit all the big cards, but there's a lot of the times where you don't. So you do want to sort of have that sort of interaction,
Yeah.
I guess.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, definitely the communication's my big one. Is my, I suppose,
Yeah.
and not being at everyone tagged constantly. That was that. I just wish I could get myself removed from an at everyone.
I'm just sitting in my chair very awkwardly right now.
I know it's a necessary evil, all right? I know it's a necessary evil. Don't get me wrong.
I want to do
But
I want to do an at everyone right now. Actually, you've got me thinking about it.
at everyone.
All right. So for me, I agree with you about the communication, and I agree with you about the interactive part.
Yeah.
I would add to that too having a second camera, and
Yes.
it's really funny because I think having a second camera is actually easier for the breaker because keeping all the cards and the box on the single camera is actually quite difficult.
Mm.
So I used to break with one, then I went to two, and I actually found it a lot less stressful to break because let's just say you do move your hands off camera, they're still going to be on the second camera. So
Yeah.
it sort of gives you that little bit of,
Yeah.
um, I suppose, error, but also still having 100% transparency. And the other thing
Mm.
I really like about it too is it actually opens up my break mat. So then I can break the cards and I've still got the box off to the side, but the second camera's got like direct view of that because that's
Yeah.
the other thing I don't like is that breakers, they open the box, then put the box off camera. And look, I know I'm being extremely paranoid here, but what if they did switch the packs or, sort of do something like
No,
that?
no,
So
that's I think it's
yeah,
completely reasonable. I actually think,
yeah.
yeah, you sort of
So
build that level of trust. Yeah.
this goose that's only got one camera, I
Yep.
actually think he does that deliberately because if you had a
What you
second,
mean because he took his card off screen, took
yeah,
it
because
away,
if you had
and
a
then
second camera, he couldn't do that sleight of hand, right? Whereas, and not that he got away with it, obviously, like you could argue I'm missing the point here, but I would also say too, I don't think he would try and do that because the second camera would be there. So
yeah,
I really value that second camera probably a lot. And the other
yeah,
thing I've been doing now too is so you stream live, but you can also record directly to your hard disk. So
hmm,
if the stream fails, I just I just keep
you've got
breaking
both.
and then you
Yeah,
just upload the feed later and you just have to, be apologetic about it. But that, comes out of communication like you're talking about before. So I would probably
yeah,
say, without crapping on too much, that's the thing that,
yep, yeah,
for me that I can practically achieve, I think that's important. Yeah. Yeah.
yep. Agreed. Agreed.
Let's talk about Mikal Bridges. We probably should have done this a couple of weeks ago, but here we are.
Hmm.
Since getting traded to Brooklyn, 25.8 points, 4.5 rebounds, 2.6 assists, and 49% from the field. So,
He's the
you know,
reason my Cam Thomas cards aren't worth anything. I'm joking.
I think you could probably blame the coach more for that, to be honest. I think, yeah,
Spoiler alert, I don't own any Cam Thomas.
you
I
don't?
may have I didn't jump in at all.
Okay, why not?
Because I just it just didn't float my boat.
Okay.
I was saving my money to jump in on Austin Reeves with my $20 today.
I actually don't know if you're joking or serious about that.
No, I have no. I just didn't bother looking him up. I just once he started balling out, I'm like the ship sailed.
Yeah.
But if I don't have them, I'm not going to invest in them. They're spike players like that. I'm not investing in, right? Because I feel like it's a short term thing. Anyway,
Okay.
Bridges not so short term.
Yeah, so I think let's have the conversation around Bridges because this is actually not the first time we spoke about Bridges on the show. And
Yep.
if I remember correctly, I think we narrowed it down to Cam Johnson or Bridges.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm pretty sure I went for Bridges because I was like, I think he's a bit cheaper and he's got a bit more 3 and D potential.
Mm.
But as it's probably worked out, Bridges' 3-point shot is now good enough. He's a very good defender, and now he's actually doing a bit more of the ball in his hands. So
Yes.
I think it's fair to say that I incorrectly picked that one,
Yes.
but we move on.
We do. Well,
So
I'm just looking at these prices. Whew.
Bridges' current price is 152 USD, which in sort of today's terms, I think if you want to speculate in the sort of the middle tier, I think this is like actually a
Mm.
pretty healthy place to speculate.
Yeah.
If you're looking at his all-time data, actually his highest price that he sold for is 300. So
Oh wow.
you can look at that in a couple of ways. You can say, well, that
Mm.
that period of time was almost like funny money, and it doesn't matter. That was like during the peak. Or you
Yeah.
could say, well, actually, you're still getting it for half price. I actually think that maybe a more relevant comp is probably what he was selling for at the start of the year, and he was selling for that sort of 40, 50, 60, $70 range. He was really floating around that for a long period of time, and
It was
then
in that 60 to 50 to 70. You're probably
yeah,
right. Yeah.
then the
Yep.
last 3 months he's had 154% growth. So, he's
Yep.
gone from 60 to, 160.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
suppose the question is for me is where does this start to slow down?
For Bridges.
Yeah, so is he a buy, hold, or a sell at 150?
All
If
right.
I
So what's the situation?
Well, you can paint the
If
scenario.
I
You can
don't if I don't have him,
Yeah,
am I
sure.
buying him?
Do
No.
do do that scenario. Okay, yeah,
Okay.
sure. Yeah.
So if I have him,
If you have him, what are you doing with him?
I think I'm selling.
Okay.
Not because of I just think that he's hit his short term peak, I guess. It's like a plateau.
Yeah,
And we've
sure.
seen he sort of hit that about a month ago, and then he's sort of been up, down, and around for the last month. Like
Yep.
he sort of since the trade, we got the little spike, and then you've got a bit of growth there, but there'd have to be a lot more growth to continue the trend, in my opinion.
Sure.
I'm probably 70-30 sell, 30% hold. Like 70% sell,
Yeah.
30% hold. I'm not buying because I think the time to buy has passed unless you're a Bridges. Do you know what I mean? Like it's not
So your sentiment
if I'm trying to make money on this guy, my ship has sailed.
Yeah.
So I'm either holding him for the hope that he is Brooklyn's savior and becomes the guy in Brooklyn for the next 5 years and goes up, and Brooklyn somehow through some miracles end up at the 300. He ends up at the 300 mark, but I think this is where he sits.
So I think just to follow on from that, if you are sitting on Bridges at the moment and you want to flip that into something else that's bigger, I think
Correct.
that's a good play. I'm fine with that.
Yep.
The
Yep.
only thing I would add to this is I don't think this is his ceiling. I think he can go up a bit more now because I think those numbers that he's put up, that's not an accident, and I think he can do it again. And I would take a step more than that. I think we all acknowledged in Phoenix that if the Suns were going to take that next step, they needed Bridges to do a little bit more.
Yep.
And I would say that he was doing a little bit more in Phoenix, but they turned him into Durant. So I've got no problem with, to get someone like Kevin Durant, you have to give up
You
talent.
can't criticize Phoenix,
No, definitely not. So
but yeah.
I would say that if my heart was setting on buying Bridges, I think at the moment he is a little bit hot, and I probably suspect in the off season he'll trend down a little bit.
Yes.
So if he does trend down to that sort of $140, $150 mark,
Yeah. Yeah.
I
But
would,
see, I think that's what I was trying to get at. You're just better at
yeah.
articulating that.
No, no, I was just say if he just
Like,
cools off a little bit, like I would feel
yep.
pretty good about buying into him because I think he could get to the 200, 250, $300 mark. I don't think that's outrageous to say that.
But you think someone like him would cool off especially,
He'll
no
cool
offense
off.
to Brooklyn, but I don't think they're going very deep. And they might, who knows? But
What are they?
if they
What are they ranked at the moment on those? What's their standings?
the East, they are sixth,
Yeah, right.
40,
Okay.
40 and 34. So they've got they're above 500. But I don't know. Currently, they're playing against Philadelphia in the first round if the playoffs started today, right?
Which they'll get absolutely manhandled.
Correct. So, what's their opportunity? Maybe go up a spot,
Mm,
take New York's, and play Cleveland, which they'll probably get spanked.
yeah.
Like I just don't think they're built well enough to go deep this year, and I think that will mean in the off season, as you've said, that should result in a sort of because they exit the season on a negative. It'll be like obviously they lose in the first round. That press is the recency bias that influences people in the early off season. They go, maybe Bridges isn't that good. Drops down a bit. Opportunity knocks at 120 to 140.
Yeah, I like that narrative.
Yeah.
It's a very romantic narrative, isn't it?
That's why LeBron likes narratives so much.
All right. Let's tie this bad boy off. Final thoughts?
Final thoughts.
Yeah.
Nikola Jokic is underrated. I think he is going to be a 3-time MVP and NBA champion this year.
So you think he's
If
got
it's
the
not this
Moses
year,
Malone potential?
I think he is going to win himself a chip. I don't think he's going to be quite Magic, but he will be. He'll be up with at least with the Moses Malone.
Yeah. I think he's got the Tim Duncan card potential.
He's a Tim Duncan.
Yeah, I reckon he could get to
big fundamental
6, 5, 6, something like that. I think that's like.
You know what? He should change his nickname. Out of Tim Duncan respect, we'll call him the freaky fundamental. It's like a cross between Giannis and Tim Duncan. Had a baby, and it was Nikola Jokic.
Have you seen his brothers? How they almost look like sort of bodyguards from like Bond movies or something like that?
Yeah, it's pretty funny.
I feel like he's more like an Undertaker type like nickname, you know? Yeah.
But he's definitely a unicorn. Thank
you everyone for listening. We really appreciate every click, every listen, every social media interaction. We're just so grateful. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thanks to everybody.
Thank you to our sponsors. We can't thank you enough as always. Adam, it's great to see you today and also to see you again tonight.
Pleasure as always. And it was good. We should do more card shows, more card fairs. That's good.
Agreed.
Yep.
See you later, guys. Awesome. Bye-bye.
See you guys. Bye.